오랜만에 연합뉴스 영문으로 헤드라인을 좀 살펴보면서 전체적으로 어떤 이슈들이 있는지 최근에 그런 것도 보고 한국뿐만 아니라 다른 그 월드뉴스도 좀 조금씩 보도록 하겠습니다. 오케이. Support for N doubles after Na quits PPP leadership race poll. 탑뉴스를 한번 다 볼까요? South Korea's new COVID-19 cases above 30,000 for second day after holiday. South Korea's gas coal imports hit record high in 2022 data. 진짜 이거 너무 많이 오른 것 같아. South Korea's imports of gas and coal hit an all-time high last year on surging global energy prices, data showed Thursday. The value of gas imports came to $56.7 billion last year, the highest since 1956 when the government began compiling the related data, according to the Ministry of Trade, Industry and Energy. The previous record of $36.6 billion was set in 2014. The import value of coal also reached an all-time high of $28.1 billion, surpassing the previous record of $18.3 billion logged in 2011, the data showed. 2011년 이후로 지금 거의 어마어마하게 올랐네요, 지금. Oil imports came to $105.8 billion last year, just coming short of a record $108.3 billion set in 2012. Combined, the country's energy imports surged more than 40% on year. 40%나 인상한다고? To a record high of combined, the country's energy imports surged more than 40% on year to a record high of $190.8 billion, according to the data. South Korea depends on imports for most of its energy needs. The surge was mainly attributable to high global energy prices on a prolonged war between Russia and Ukraine and supply disruptions, as well as growing energy imports in preparation for wintertime demand, a ministry official said. 겨울이 끝나가니까 망정이지 정말. Australia was South Korea's number one gas supplier with $15.3 billion last year, taking up 27% of the country's total gas imports, followed by the United States with $11.9 billion, Qatar with $8.5 billion and Malaysia with $5.5 billion. Australia was also South Korea's top coal supplier with $12.4 billion or 44.2% of Seoul's total coal imports, followed by Russia with $5.7 billion, Indonesia with $3.5 billion, and Canada with $2.6 billion, the data showed. The soaring energy imports caused the countries to suffer a trade deficit of $47.2 billion last year. It is the first time since 2008 that South Korea saw a trade deficit, and the shortfall is more than double of the previous record deficit of $20.62 billion logged in 1996, according to the ministry. The people have been feeling the pinch of high energy prices as the government sharply raised heating and electricity rates. Last year, the government jacked up the gas rate for households more than 40% on year, or 5.471 per megajoule. Megajoule, what is this? And the electricity rate by 19.31 per kilowatt hour, saying that it was inevitable to promote efficient energy use and to ensure a stable energy supplies by preventing public utility firms from suffering huge losses. The government froze the gas rate for the first quarter of this year, but plans to raise in the second quarter. It raises the electricity rate 13.11 per kilowatt hour. How to rate kilowatt hour for the first quarter. 가스비가 올랐는데 이것 때문이군요. Military says it initially regarded North Korea drone intrusion as non-emergency situation. 이게 어떻게 non-emergency situation이라는 건지 참 이해를 할 수가 없습니다. Anything else? Heavy snow advisory issued for Seoul surrounding areas. A heavy snow advisory 이건 발음 좀 더 확인해 봐야겠어요. Advisory I don't know. A heavy snow advisory was issued Thursday in a greater Seoul area and some central parts of the country, the state weather agency said. The advisory 거슬리네. 이건 뭐라고 읽는 것일까요? 발음을
Advisory,
okay. The advisory went into effect in Seoul, Incheon, parts of Gyeonggi province surrounding Seoul, and the coastal region of South Chungcheong province, according to the Korea Meteorological Administration. The advisory 또 까먹었네. 이렇게 단어를 검색하면 됩니다.
advisory,
advisory, okay. The advisory is given when the snowfall is expected to reach 5 centimeters or more within 24 hours. The snowfall was heaviest overnight and into early Thursday, impacting the morning commute, the KMA said. The KMA advised citizens to use public transportation and leave for work earlier than usual to avoid heavy traffic congestion. The snowfall was forecast to stop Thursday afternoon, starting with the wider Seoul area, but will continue into early Friday in central parts of the country. 와, 뉴스를 기사 안 읽은 지 너무 오래돼가지고. Between 2 and 7 centimeters of snow is expected until Friday and more than 10 centimeters in mountainous regions on the southern island of Jeju, the KMA said. 금요일 이른 시간까지 온다고 했으니 이제 그쳤겠죠. South Korea's childbirth hit record low in November. Opposition leader calls for 7.5 trillion won handout. Is that right? Handouts to help with soaring energy bills. Opposition leader Lee Jae-myung on Thursday proposed offering 7.2 trillion won in handout to help people cope with spikes in heating and energy bills. 이 돈을 어디서 나고 계속 지원을 한다는 것인가? The proposal came amid a steep hike in household heating bills due to a raise in gas prices. According to Statistics Korea, local monthly gas rates increased by 34% last month from a year ago. To secure financial resources for the 그래도 일단 지원해야 되겠죠. 먹고 살기 힘든 사람들을 위해서 그 사람들도 살아야 되니까. To secure financial resources for the handout, the government should consider imposing a windfall tax on energy companies to redistribute the excessive profits the companies have earned, and Democratic Party chairman said. We could have expected a situation like this could happen because of the war and the economic situation. But the government fails to come up with sufficient measures to respond to this, Lee said, referring to the Russian invasion of Ukraine, which accelerated the rise in global energy prices. 전쟁 좀 끝내지 좀. The problem would not have been exacerbated to this extent if the government had paid just part of the attention it puts on its effort toward reducing taxes for the wealthy to this matter, Lee added. Meanwhile, the presidential office said the government will expand the energy vouchers for low-income households this winter from 152,000 won to 304,000 won and provide more discounts on gas rates. Governments to expand energy vouchers for vulnerable people as a heating bill surge. Heavy snow advisory issued for Seoul surrounding area. 아까 읽었고 now bows out of PPP leadership race. 월드뉴스를 잠깐 볼까요? Cold wave warnings issued across South Korea. Seoul witnesses coldest day. 이제 이런 표현도 쓰네요. Witnesses. 그러니까 서울이 가장 추운 날을 맞이했다라는 표현으로 이제 영어식 사고는 사람이 아닌 것에도 인격을 부여하니까 서울이 아주 추운 날을 이제 보게 됐다, 목격하게 됐다. 결국에는 아주 서울 가장 추운 날이었다. 이렇게 한국어로는 표현하지만 witnesses 이런 표현이 드디어 연합뉴스에서도 볼 수 있게 됐네요. Okay. Cold wave warnings were issued across South Korea on Wednesday as the country came under the grip of the season's coldest weather, authorities said. In Seoul, morning lows plummeted to minus 19.3 Celsius, with an effective temperature of nearly minus 25.7 Celsius as of 6:29 a.m. The Korea Meteorological Administration said. A cold wave warning is issued when the morning low is below minus 15 Celsius for more than 2 consecutive days, or when the temperature drops sharply and major damage is expected. Since 2000, Seoul's morning lows have dipped below minus 17 Celsius only on 9 days, the KMA said. The temperature in mountainous areas of Gangwon Province and the northern region of Gyeonggi Province dipped to morning lows of minus 25.1 Celsius, the KMA said. 온도가 많이 떨어졌다. 그런 이야기고. Let me see. 월드뉴스가 없나요? 월드뉴스가 없는 것인가? 월드뉴스가 만약에 없으면 CNN이나 뭐죠? 다른 매체로 진짜 없나 하나도? Economy Finance 볼까요? National Economy Finance. South Korea, Cambodia to boost trade investment via FTA. LG Energy Solution targets 30 PCT sales growth in 2023. 현대모비스 이거 어떻게 읽었더라 까먹었네. 현대모비스 Q4 net rises 15% on high-end parts. South Korea's new COVID-19 cases above 30 아까 읽었고. South Korea's rice consumption hits another low. CNN으로 넘어가야겠습니다.